Hi, my name is Martin and I'm a specialist technical coach and mentor for open formula drivers. In this video, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on the 2025 F1 Hungarian Grand Prix. If you're interested in what those are, definitely keep watching. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I hope you're going well. I hope you enjoyed the race. Personally, found it a little bit frustrating from a tactical point of view. We'll get onto that in just a second. Just want to start with qualifying, just as I've watched the ghost car, got a little bit more information. Just wanted to share that with you now. So yeah, there was a bit of a philosophy that came out that McLaren was struggling with the wind. I don't know about you guys, but personally, I'm not buying that one. That sounds a little bit, but it sounds like a bit of an excuse to me. I just think Leclerc did a better job. Tight lines were working and he just found heaps of lap time in the final corner. If you look at the ghost onboard, like I say, when Oscar turns in with that wider line trying to V the corner off, he gets a snap in the middle of that. I don't know if that was wind or line. Knowing what I know about that corner and that I've got a 22 page thesis analysis paper on that particular corner on my website, I'm not buying the whole wind thing. I didn't like Oscar's line. Let me show you guys the ghost car now, at least an image of it, and we'll have a look at it together. This is what I'm talking about. When Oscar turns in from this position, you're essentially loading up the left-hand side of the car a lot more. You are susceptible to either understeer or oversteer. Not to mention Leclerc, he's not as susceptible to that, and he can just drive a shorter arc, shorter distance through the corner. And the tight line says you're not going to find your left front on this entry position over here. The tight line says you are a step inside of that. You just turn in from there. Very powerful technique, and I think that's what won him pole. I just want to show you guys also the telemetry as well. So this was the telemetry between their two laps, and it was all won and lost in the final corner. Yes, Oscar found time on the entry there, but with all that speed that he carried in, he did get that snap right about there when he was up a tenth of a second. This is in the middle of the final corner. I'll just zoom in on it so you guys can just see it. When Oscar got that delta in his favor and he was up a tenth, the amount of load he was asking from the McLaren got that snap. Leclerc's able to just get on throttle and blast to the line slightly quicker. So yeah, it just goes to show the power of the tight line. And yeah, I just feel like that was the biggest reason why Charles got pole. And it was a beautiful pole position. I said yesterday in my description, it was like watching Roger Federer play tennis. It was just beautiful driving. He was just guiding the car, leading the car beautifully, almost like a dancing kind of choreography, like it was just poetry in motion for me. So it was a beautiful pole. Okay, let's talk about the race. I'm not going to start on race start. I'll come to that a little bit later. Just for me with strategy, again, guys, I'm not the world's god tier strategy mind. I feel like I've only got a racer's instinct and I can just only give you that really. And so I just feel like from a strategic point of view, I felt like the race was being run by computers and calculators and no one was taking the racer's decision out there. And I'm going to elaborate on that a little bit. So that's why I found it a little bit frustrating as well. And I wanted to open the conversation more broadly with you guys as well in the comments. Let me know what you thought about the whole strategy thing after you kind of hear what I have to say. And yeah, I'd be interested to see, was it just me or is it you guys as well? I just thought tactically on the, I thought just generally tactically it was scrappy. So tactical is starts, attack, defense, restarts, following in dirty air, tire management, that whole management strategy, of course, as well. I just thought on that front, it was a bit of a scrappy race. So Lando won the race on strategy. It was a beautiful one stop. I think he was the only one to execute, in a way, a clean sort of strategy. And what I mean by clean strategy, well, like just fairly reasonably divided up stints. So let's say, for example, it's a 50 lap race, then 20 on the medium, 30 on the hard. That's a reasonable strategy. Or if you want to go 10 on the soft and then 20 and 20 on a medium, that's also a nice division as well. Just something that kind of makes sense. Now, it all kind of fell away from me when Piastri pitted on lap 19. I don't know about you guys, but I just felt like it was between strategies. I felt like it was kind of late-ish for a two-stop in a way. And it was very early, clearly, for a one-stop. And so I said yesterday, what Ferrari need to do is not let that McLaren get clean air in any way, shape or form. Always keep the race lead, even if it means you're on older tires. And make sure you keep the race lead. Because, and my context for that was the track's stacked with left, right, high-speed sections, long corners of constant radius, aero wash city. It's always been difficult to pass around Hungary. And so I just felt like that was all they had to do. And with the straight line speed of the Ferrari, there was no way a McLaren was going to come past tire advantage or no advantage. It's just The Ferrari had good straight line speed. Aero washed through the final corner. Happy days. Anyway, so Piastri pitting on lap 19. I felt like, okay, like from Piastri's side, whatever. Leclerc, this is where I was, my racing instinct, and again, I can only give you that. It was like, I just felt like staying out was the option. I thought it was just too early. And I was thinking just one stop. I don't know why. I just thought like, what are you going to do? Like, you're not going to obviously do 51 laps on the hard. You'll be swallowed. But then you also want to travel another couple of laps. Leclerc had amazing first stint. So I just felt like, anyway, so they pitted Leclerc to react to that. Fine. I kind of understand, like, you know, you got to react to that. You can't lose the race lead to Oscar. If you wait and pit a few more laps later, yeah, you're going to give up the race lead. But then, you know, Oscar's going to struggle towards the end as well. So it was just trying to find that balance. Anyway, my instinct was stay out for Charles at that point. The first thing that clicked into my mind was Monza 2024. Again, when Charles won that race, he pitted really early. I think it's a 53 lap race and they pitted on, I can't remember the lap. Someone look it up. It'll be like between 14 and 18, something like that, really early in Monza, and whacked on the hard, and he went to the end. That's how he won that race, 2024 Monza. There's been a few stories recently of that. I think the whole season's been characterized by dirty air, turbulent air, clean air is king, like a qualifying championship. We've been hearing all that up to this point. I'm not sure, like, yeah, I think just the one stop was the way to go. And so I'm thinking Monza 2024. I think, okay, Charles can just stay here and just go to the end. That's pretty much all he had to do. So then I feel like the biggest mistake from Ferrari was when they pitted him the second time. I'm just glancing my notes here to see they pitted him on lap 41. So McLaren gave them some sort of dummy call, like box this lap, or either the guys came out in the pit lane or whatever. At this point, Oscar was 1.6 behind. So you can argue whether or not that was undercut territory. But I just feel like even if Oscar pitted, like Leclerc go to the end is what I'm saying here. Yeah, it wasn't lap 20 Charles pitted. It was a bit early, but you can do the whole Monza thing. Charles is good enough to look after those tires and hang on from there. So the biggest mistake Ferrari made was to pit on that lap. They didn't only give track position to Oscar, but they gave it to Lando and they gave it to George as well. No one else pitted at that point. So it was not. That was the first mistake from me, from the Ferrari strategy technical. Again, you guys let me know what you think in the comments, but giving up that lead to 3 cars, one of them is going to go to the end, you know what I mean? Particularly Lando on lap 41, you know he's committing to the 2-stop. You know on what lap he pitted. You know you're going to have to make that overtake on track. That would have been a challenge in any case. So even if you were thinking the Piastri thing, like you want to protect against the possible undercut, you know you're going to have to, like, you know you're going to fall behind Lando, who's always going to do the one stop. So it was like, I think that was a mistake. But again, lap 20 was very early as well. So they kind of screwed themselves with that lap 20 pit stop. It was between strategies. Now, I wanted to also talk to you guys as well. I thought was a bit frustrating just from a racecraft point of view. Lap 30, Max puts the nose up the inside of Lewis, the high-speed left-hander of turn 4. Yeah, I feel like that was a bad one in a way from Max. Again, you guys let me know in the comments that this, because we're talking about things that are not technical at this point. This is attack and defense and strategy and so on. I thought it was a late move from Max. He was not sufficiently alongside in accordance with the rules. They say that you have to have your front axle at least alongside the mirror before and during the apex. Max was clearly nowhere near that. Lewis turns in and looks and sees in his mirror Max there, opens the steering wheel and gets out of that. At that speed, if those two come together front to rear with Lewis turning, yeah, for sure he's going to flip. He would have ended up near where Massa had his accident at the exit of turn 4 there as well. So it was a high-speed entry, a really dangerous place to stick the nose. He didn't get a penalty as far as I know. I feel like it, yeah, should. That's, what are you doing putting the nose up at the inside of such a high-speed corner there? That was, yeah, now look, not to take away from Max, some beautiful moves in the chicane and so on, but that one was a bit, you know, that was if Lewis doesn't back out of that, they come together. Let me bring you guys a few pictures as well, just to kind of make my case here. So this is the shot, and you see Max climbing across the curb here to avoid, and Lewis, he can see him in his mirror. I'm sure if Lewis turns in here, these are front to rear, and Lewis is in a big, that's going to be an aeroplane accident at that speed. They're doing something like 200 to 250 through there, so it's a very high speed corner. It's not like a big braking zone where Max can use that braking and get ahead before and during the apex. Now, this apex comes like that. So there was no time for Max to get down the inside. I thought Leclerc's moving under braking against George Russell, again, was was weird. Like it was late, it was lazy, it was clumsy. Leclerc in attack and defense, not the best. I feel like, and we speak about the 4 areas of driver preparation a lot: physical, mental, technical, and tactical. Technical being lap time, technique, line, throttle, brake, steering, gears, and so on. Leclerc's tick, tick, tick. You know, he's got like something like 30 poles. But then Leclerc's wins, I don't know, he's got like 8 or something. Someone will correct me, but it's some sort of weird ratio like that. So it's clear that tactically, Leclerc is, I think he got pole in Vegas 22 or 23, lost the lead almost instantly down into turn 1. So look, there's a lot of Leclerc fans on this channel. I know you guys are going to come at me for this, but credit where credit is due for an amazing lap. I just feel like the moving on the braking, it was late and it just wasn't organized. Let me bring you guys up a few pictures as well to show you what I'm talking about. So this is the attack from George Russell and Charles Leclerc for the podium. And we're about 3/4 of the way down the straight at this point. No defense from Leclerc at all, like nothing. Big green box, green arrow pointing up the inside saying, George, if you want to have a go, pass me here. It's kind of fine if he stays there. I'd be coming down on him saying, why didn't you defend, Charles? But then to move late, like in this shot here, once George has already pulled out, it's too late for Leclerc to come across in the break. They're braking at this point. So that is moving on the braking. Again, similarly, like I think Max should get some sort of penalty for that. I think moving on the braking here twice for Charles is worthy of something as well. And we also need to talk about the start and Leclerc's kind of tactics and strategy off the line. No preset in the box. You guys know I spoke about this yesterday and said, mate, you got to chop and get to the inside as quickly as possible. That way you can control and manage the corners. So these corners are all really long. No one's going to really drive around you at the outside of turn 1 if it's just a one-on-one. You can control the corner from the inside, Leclerc. So I like the whole preset situation. I'll jump over to the whiteboard and show you guys what I'm talking about. So Leclerc on the pole here, and then who's over here? Piastri. So this is Leclerc here. And I'll draw in red for like the Ferrari. I like the preset, which means you line your car up at an angle, and that means you just have to drive straight. You don't need to put any steering angle into the car, and you're competing for this space over here. So if Oscar gets a good launch, Oscar's got to put the steering into the car and go for the outside. It's hard to attack from that position. So Leclerc didn't do that. It was a very straight lineup. I thought, okay, fine. Like doesn't mean you're guaranteed to lose the lead, but it leaves you at risk if you don't get away nicely. So let's have a look at some shots of the start. So this one I'm talking about very straight, like they all just lined up really straight. So I just thought that was, Leclerc was leaving himself vulnerable for an attack down into turn 1. And then when Leclerc did, what he was trying to do was break the slipstream. He didn't want to just go straight and give the McLaren boys a slipstream. Instead of going to the inside, which is, all the way down here, like we said, to control and manage situation from the inside, he actually chooses the outside to break as a place to break the slipstream. So you can see Piastri following him to try to get the slipstream. I get the whole thing of moving to break the toe, but if you had to pick go left or right, Charles, mate, come over this way. This is where you need to, try to, at least then they're attacking you around the outside. It's much safer as well. And we need to talk about Charles Leclerc's issue and what happened to his pace as well. So there's a few things going on with Charles today. I don't know what it was. He was losing lap time at such a rate. I could only think that it was battery related or engine related, because and I was thinking maybe it was front wing. So the context is that Leclerc came on the radio and said, guys, we need to discuss this before you do this. I'm not sure what this thing was, whether it was the strategy to pit, front wing angle, engine strategy. I'm not sure what it was. I thought it was engine just given the lap time loss, but then hearing the radio back, maybe I'm thinking front wing. But for a small front wing tweak, he was getting smashed in terms of lap time. So that also is a bit sus for me as well. I'm not sure what it was. Around lap 50, he was losing seconds, seconds per lap. He was getting absolutely caned. He spoke about decisioning. Like I said, I'm not sure what it was. At the second stop, they didn't make any change. So if it was a bad front wing call that happened in the first stop, in the second stop, you would think they'd go in and reverse that back out. Not sure what it was. So some sort of issue there for communication. And I've always thought Ferrari, even if Ferrari had a good car, they're very clumsy in the race operations, race management, tactical side of things as well. So I just think when they pitted Charles, this mistake, whatever, Charles's racecraft, Oh, it's frustrating, isn't it? Yeah, it's frustrating. I just think given the lap that he did yesterday, his technical excellence is so high, and then tactically it just takes a job. A little bit like Lando in a few ways as well. And talking about Lando in the start, he lost 2 spots with a very soft braking into turn one as well. So it's that sort of thing. Like if you're a Lando fan, I can imagine the frustration. You must be happy with the strategy execution as well from the McLaren side. Again, from Leclerc's side, he's so quick that it would be hard to take if you're a Leclerc fan. All right, let's talk technically for a minute. Let's get rid of all that strategy stuff. Let's go technically. I saw some tire temperatures again on board Lando Norris. We saw them yesterday. I'm stealing these shots for you guys to give you guys an insight into what's going on with the temperatures. These are your 4 tires, and you got 101 on the front left and 99 on the front right. They're not super high, but every onboard I jumped on board with, and I'll show you a few later, it's understeer city. And this is a big difference across here, the rear left versus the rear right. So it's all 4 tires are really a limitation around here. I just feel like the fronts, even though they're not overheating, relative to the rear, that is, I just feel like all 4 were a limitation. Front grip is key in long corners. That's like my golden rule. So anyway, I thought I'd share that with you. And just the general driving, like I say, I'll bring up a video now of just looked like it was wet out there at times. A lot of guys overshooting their braking, a lot of guys going really long way around these corners, straining the front left, particularly Max. We know he's susceptible to this sort of thing with his line. Let's bring up the video now. So this is Max in the second last corner, lap 27. It's just really weird to see these lines. Like, I mean, it's a weakness I've highlighted before on this channel, but to this extent, I mean, he's out in the marbles and all sorts of stuff happening down there. It just looks horrible. Braking into turn one, you'll notice Max doesn't want to steer, and then he turns. It's really weird. Like, I don't know. This is Piastri, even in a decent car, just the way he lines up this corner as well. And they're all kind of overshooting their braking a little bit as well. Have a look in the final corner. Again, Piastri with that wide turn in. This is the one that cost him pole position. You would think he'd clean this up. No, he doesn't clean it up. Still with a wide line. And it cost him as well, because have a look at this. When he goes for the throttle with that much lock on, yeah, it's not a great line. There's no grip out there, guys. So again, this is why I just found this race a little bit frustrating. Yesterday, I was over the moon because I saw really good technique. And today I'm like, oh, I don't know. That was frustrating. Again, let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. I wanted to talk about one driver that I'm coaching in GB4 in Silverstone. I've been coaching him for a while. He's an Aussie guy from Tasmania. His name's Jack. He got his first pole position and first win yesterday, and he got his second win in the rain today. I'll bring up a few pictures. Why not? I'll share them with you. Let's have a look together. So like I say, he's a young boy from Tassie. He got his first pole and win. This was the photo today in the wet. So he was driving some really nice wet lines. We've done a lot of work together. Believe me, guys, Jack is a beautiful guy. Like, he's got a great heart, a great soul. He's so hardworking and he's so curious as well. And those are the 2 qualities that I really respect. He's not like, you wouldn't put him on a track and he sets the track on fire like a Verstappen or something. The first time he did GP4 last year, he was getting results kind of mid-pack, 10, 11, 12 sort of through there. But to see him, move forward like this is super happy. So there's Jack, there's his family as well. That's his dad in the middle. He must be over the moon. So I sent him a message. We had a quick chat as well just before he goes out for one of his races. He's starting, they do a reverse grid, I think, for the final one, and it might be wet as well. So I'd be keen to follow his progress. But yeah, he's very much like Oscar in a few ways, in the sense that he's just straightforward, he's stoic, he's neutral. He's not like emotional. He's not like a Lando, emotions up and down, that sort of thing. He's much sweeter than Oscar. Oscar's very steely, and Jack's very he's a very nice boy, very lovely boy. And so I just thought I'd share that with you as a positive story. He got his first pole and first 2 wins, one in the dry, one in the wet, around a technical track like Silverstone. I'll remember we worked on his lines into the S's a lot. I just tried to clean that up. And just technical corners around Silverstone, like you've got the decreasing radius into the constant radius, S's as well. It's a wide track, so there's opportunity for tight lines as well. So yeah, it's extremely fulfilling to see a driver win their first race and help them on that journey as well. So yeah, I just wanted to say congratulations, Jack. Thanks for watching this video, guys. There's a lot to talk about, so definitely drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know what you agreed or disagree with respect, of course, and why. And we'll continue the conversation there. I'm looking forward to a break, but I'll see you guys when we get to Netherlands. Again, a lot of long corners. So plenty to talk about there as well. Cheers.